Time for another Desert Island Discs. Desert Island Movies. We're going to go through one of my shelves, and now we've completed all of this. Down here, we're going to turn our attention to around this bit here. The inside of this shelf here, actually, where we're going to start on some of the teas. So let's get into it. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another episode of Desert Island Movies. Yes, so like I said, we're back around there today. I'm going to go through the films, all the films that I've got on that shelf. I'm going to take a look at them, a little bit of a discussion about some of the films, that sort of a thing. Then ultimately I'm going to pick that one movie above all the others that I will take above all the others if I had to make that choice. If I were stranded on a desert island with electricity, with a TV, with a setup to play that disc. But okay, yeah, you get the gist of the thing. It's about picking that one film. So while I'm going through the films, think yourself about what film you would pick, because genuinely that does interest me, what other people's interests are. And try and, if you think you know me, try and guess the film that I would pick before I get to it. Yeah, a little bit of fun and games. So, shall we just park myself over there and we can start? Let's do it. Now, rarely do I venture around this corner of the room for filming purposes, but here we are today. We are here. So we've got this shelf here, and as you can see, it's this one here that I'm doing. Now, the two shelves above, I'm at this moment in time, I'm going to jump over. Reason being, because I'll do them all in one go, but that is literally all Star Trek and Star Wars stuff. Nothing more there. And, you know, well, we can probably guess what the picks will be therein. So, yeah, we're going to start on this little shelf here. So, let us begin. Let's move that. So, first of all, okay, I have a little collectible Hulk there. Very dusty. It's from the Marvel series of things they used to do, little figures, sort of lead figures. I've got loads of them, but most of them are actually up in the attic now. Got no room for them. So yeah, this shelf here. So yeah, this is teas. I think most of this will be teas. Then we're gonna work our way down, and we've got a horror shelf at the very bottom. So 1, 2, 3, 4 more shelves, and we reach a horror shelf. We won't get to that yet, and obviously we'll jump to a Steelbook release shelf after that. Now behind me there's the Predator films and Alien films up there with some Alien collectibles, and these few shelves behind me here are all 4Ks, so we will get into them as well at some juncture as we work our way around. So let us begin. So first up, okay, not a tea, but I showed this in the end of the last episode, and it is the 4K version of Sharknado. It just happens to be sat on this shelf in, you know, sort of displayed with the Barbie case. Yeah, I picked it up. Here's, you know, a nice, interesting design cover. So we have that there. Okay, this should go back round into the S's. I haven't put it away. I've been a little bit naughty. I watched this just a week or 2 weeks ago over the Christmas period. As I'm filming this, that's when it was. And it is the John Cusack and Kate Beckinsale film Serendipity. But I think I did pull this on one of my last episodes, as in it was there. And I love this film. It's a really good film. Kate Beckinsale looks fantastic in it. I like John Cusack. You know, the moment where John Cusack is gifted the book, every time, that just like, wow, it's like, oh, it's so impactful. This is a really strong film, really good film, and I have good memories of actually going to see it at the cinema up in London's Leicester Square with a certain lady that I was seeing at the time. So I'm going to put that over there because it goes back around there. So let's move on. So what do we have up here? We have, oh yeah, Matt gifted this to me. Terminator, little metal Terminator thing with a thing on the back. Unfortunately, it doesn't fit into a standard Amaray case. So that's got to go in one of my Terminator steelbooks. So I'm going to put that up there. Enter. And then it'll probably be in there later on. So what do we have here? Let's take a look. So first up we have, this is the DVD version. I did keep hold of it, and I do have a Blu-ray, I do have a 4K, and it is for Titanic. But this was a very nice edition for DVD release. This is a, I believe this was the US release that I have here. Yeah, and again, Matt gifted me that magnet. Titanic, he sent me that my way. And I stuck it in this set for safekeeping. Formed it part of this set. I love Titanic, it was a great film. I do remember going to see it in 1997. What else do we have here? We have some bits from a Westworld collection book that came with Westworld. The Maze. I don't know why it's, you know, up there, but there we go. Put that down there for now. Okay, here we have, Titanic collectible to go with my film, The Heart of the Ocean. Shall I wear that? Shall I wear it throughout this episode? I think not. But yeah, The Heart of the Ocean. That was what it was called, wasn't it? From Titanic. Okay, let's get into some proper films. Now, being T, there's probably going to be some decent titles along here. I shan't lie. So first up, we have the George Clooney and Julia Roberts movie, Ticket to Paradise. I actually really enjoyed this film. I like George Clooney. I think he's got a great comedic timing, and it's on full display in this movie. It's still sealed because, well, I haven't rewatched it. I watched it before, you know, I'd watched it before it came out, and then I bought it when it came out. And here's another one still sealed, but again a film I have seen, they show on DVD, and it is Thunderbirds the movie, starring the late great Bill Paxton. Yeah, Ben Kingsley's in this as well. But yeah, directed by Jonathan Frakes. Star Trek Next Generation. Will Riker, #1. Okay, then we have a film here, and it is called Terror on the Prairie, which is a Gina Carano movie. This was after her firing on The Mandalorian. Not the best of films, but I support Gina Carano. I like Gina Carano. I think she's very good. And yeah. I did have a DVD of it, but I imported a Blu-ray. And then we have Twins. Classic Arnie movie. Arnie and Danny DeVito. I've never seen Junior. Never watched Junior. It didn't appeal. I've still got stickers on some of these. CEX stickers. Damn CEX and their stickers. But anyway, so we have Brad Pitt in the director's cut of Troy. 2004. £2.50. Denzel Washington in Training Day. Speaking of Bill Paxton, there was a TV series of Training Day. Bill Paxton was one of the leads. They'd done one season. They didn't go any further because, unfortunately, that was when he passed away. Yeah. Ethan Hawke as well in that. And I remember seeing this at the cinema, this next one. George Clooney, Mark Wahlberg, Ice Cube, Three Kings. And again, a film I enjoyed. See, some of the shelves that I looked at prior to this, there was a lot of dross within those shelves. A lot of crappy films. But, you know, looking at this shelf, it's offering up some okay titles. you know, so my work might be cut out for me as to what I am going to pick. So anyway, talking of okay films, we have here Ben Stiller and Eddie Murphy in the movie Tower Heist. 50p pickup in CEX. Madness. I hadn't seen the film. I thought for 50p, well, can't go wrong. Okay, then let's move on. Liam Neeson in a, well, I've got a double pack there. You can only pick one, don't pick the double pack. Taken and Taken 2. Let's start kind of, you know, once Liam Neeson done Taken, it kind of set his career in this trajectory of making action movies, and well, he's still knocking them out now. Bless him, he's old. He has to sit down all the time in his last one. That was one in the car. Yeah, Taken 2, and obviously we have Taken 3. Extended harder cut. Oh, this could be someone's contender for best film on this shelf. The one they would take with them. Saying that, I mean, Taken could be, but Taxi Driver. Robert De Niro. Sybil Shepherd. Young Jodie Foster. Great film. Great film. Speaking of great films, The Terminator. 4K of that, please, at some point, please. We need that. Terminator 1. Great film. Grew up on it. 1984, that was. I mean, the film speaks for itself. Terminator's a fantastic movie. It really is. And then I've got several copies of this, so it will come back round. It may already have done in the Steelbook section, but it is Terminator 2, Judgment Day. I remember seeing this at the cinema. Greenwich Picture House. It's a good film, but I'm quite critical of it, because in my mind there's a better version that exists. I've done a video on that. Yeah. Then we have Terminator 3. I enjoy this film. I mean, it's not as good as the other two. No, it's a fun film though. It's a movie that just, you know, it's a movie that it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. It doesn't slow down in pace. You know, it looks great. Jonathan Mostow directed this. It's a great looking film. Then we have Terminator Salvation. Now, whenever I look at this, yeah, I always am drawn to that there, which is the hand of the Terminator, and it just looks like a rubber glove. I don't know whether the Terminator's meant to be wearing gloves, but with some of the thingy on it, I'm not sure if it's meant to be a metallic hand or what. It did. I don't know. I'm always drawn to that. Terminator Salvation. I liked bits of it. Other bits I don't like. You know, it offered us the war, but it didn't give us what was given to us in Terminator 2. You know, the desert. It's all set in the desert, which is cheap looking in a sense. The effects are good. I liked Sam Worthington in this. For 5 minutes I liked Sam Worthington. I don't really like him now. I find him difficult to watch. Very difficult actor to watch. I think it was Avatar that done that for me. Avatar, the first one. I don't even have Avatar 2 in my collection. Way of Water. I will get it at some point because the missus likes the Avatar movies. So I've just realised that I have been filming without my earpiece in, so the sound up until now might be somewhat worse than what it is now, having put this in. I need to remember to keep putting this in. till I get a new phone or a decent microphone. I've tried 2 different microphones. I've sent them back. The sound just wasn't no good with them. But anyways, yeah, so moving on. So that was Terminator. What was that? That was Terminator Salvation. Yeah. And then we move on to Terminator Genisys. So I do have a 3D version there, which I picked up cheap in Poundland. But then I have the lenticular slip one there. Terminator Genisys. Another one that, yeah, the irony is that this film stars Jai Courtney, and I do find Sam Worthington and Jai Courtney to now be sort of interchangeable as actors. You know, I don't really like either of them. But yeah, Terminator Genisys, you know, again, I don't know. And then, I don't know again, we come to Dark Fate. And I do have a steelbook of this on 4K as well. There were some elements, again, that I liked within it, but I find it a difficult watch. I really do. You know, producer James Cameron returns. Well, he didn't do much, did he? Yeah, you know, to help it out. It was nice seeing Linda Hamilton back, but to try and sort of redo the first film with a female lead, or, you know, female John Connor, just, I don't know. And I think there was a better film within. When we learnt about the Arnie Terminator living this life, selling drapes, this sort of a thing, I sat there and I thought to myself, that's the film I want to see. I want to watch that and not this while I was watching this. Yeah, the geezer, I can't remember his name. Gabriel Luna plays the new Terminator. I like the new Terminator. I like Gabriel Luna. He was Ghost Rider in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. He was pretty good in it. But yeah, it's a film again. You know, you look at the last 3 Terminator films. Each one was meant to set up a new trilogy of films, and each one failed. You know, I'll tell you what, here's an idea. Instead of trying to set up a new franchise, a new trilogy of films, just make one film without that in mind. Just give us a Terminator film without setting something new up. Yeah, why not attempt that? I'm hoping that's what we get from the new Alien film this year. Okay, so moving on. We have a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. Time Cop. Yeah, it also stars Mia Sara. Mia Sara was the girlfriend in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. She was actually the first on the screen. Mia Sara, a little bit of trivia for you, is actually the first live-action on-screen Harley Quinzel. Harley Quinn. Yes, she was in the TV series from, I think, around 2000s, Birds of Prey. She played the character of Harley Quinn in that, but it wasn't Harley Quinn in the get-up or anything like that. It was more Harley Quinzel. But she's your first live-action Harley Quinn. But yeah, so Time Cop, if you hear that, it's because I have my old DVDs floating around in there. Yeah, Time Cop is a film that is based upon a comic book from Dark Horse Comics. Probably one of those films that people didn't realise was actually a comic book movie. But yes, it is. Not a superhero movie, but a comic book movie. So, let's move on. Then we have here a double pack. And again, you're going to see these films pop up in other areas because I have steelbooks for these. I have a digipack version of these films. And that's the 2 Lara Croft movies. Tomb Raider. 2-movie collection. I don't mind them. They're not great films, but I don't mind them. Now, you won't see the Alicia Vikander one, or whatever her name is, up here, because I do have it, but it is on steelbook only. So that's not here in this bit. Okay, so I've just switched the light off because I felt that I was brightening up too much at times there. So let's move on. Arnie film. It's still sealed. Why is it still sealed? I don't know, because I do have a 4K collector's set, the Studio Canal one, I think it was, a nice big one of this. But yeah, Total Recall, a good film. Paul Verhoeven, some good imagery in this film that sticks with you in the mind. It's one of those films that you do remember. One that you don't remember so much is the remake. This is what I hate about remakes, right? Is that you remake good films because it's a cash grab. That's what remakes are. Remakes are nothing more than a cash grab, right? You're relying on a IP that's already known. You're relying on people knowing. Total Recall, so see new Total Recall, make some money. All right. Whereas if you really want to make, you know, do some remakes, then, you know, either venture back years and years and years to films of old, you know, your black and white 1950s type things, you know. I'm going down to a different shelf here, but just for argument's sake, something like Them, you know, with a giant ant, something like that, those sort of films. Remake something that is so old people don't know it, or remake films that failed. But, you know, the minute you start remaking films that are considered classic and in the consciousness of people, you're onto a loser. You really are. Anyway, moving on. 1985, a film that upset a load of young boys that came out of the cinema in tears at the death of one of the primary characters in this movie. It's Transformers, the movie. And again, another film that I have on 4K. It's up above me somewhere, right up there, where all my special prestige collector's editions are. And we will get to them at some juncture. But that's a classic film. That's, you know, wow. And what a great 80s soundtrack it has to it. So 80s, 1980s. Now moving on. Transformers. Michael Bay, the first one. A film that I have fun with. I like this film. Second one, I think this used to have a slip on it, but I don't know what happened to it. Again, this one gets criticised heavily, and it ain't the greatest, but Michael Bay delivers on, you know, on screen. He delivers. These films look fantastic. Then we have Dark of the Moon, and that's, again, I really like Dark of the Moon. I think that's a really good one. Some of the action scenes at the end are just, you know, wow. They really look great. Then we have Age of Extinction, and I didn't mind Age of Extinction. This is the first one starring Mark Wahlberg. I get confused, right? Because all these films generally do mould into one, right? And I think that more than anything else, it is the fault of, for some reason, I actually have a couple of those Age of Extinctions. I picked this one up cheap because of the slip. But anyway, what I was saying is I think that the reason they all mould into one is simply because of this film here. This is the worst of the Transformers films. This is the worst. This is, you know, there's just no logic to how this film is put together. It just seems like scenes thrown together without any narrative flow, but cohesive narrative flow through the movie. And in that, a few months ago, a year ago, I actually was questioning how many Transformer films Mark Wahlberg done. I could have sworn that he'd done more than 2, that there was 3 under his belt, but obviously there isn't. But I had to look, I had to check it out. There we go. And then we have here, and this is a great film, and I love it. Haley Steinfeld brings a lot of humanity to this film. This is Bumblebee, and this was, you know, after the reception of this film, Transformers went another direction with Bumblebee, and it gave us all this goodwill and hope of what a Transformers film could be. And then we were given Rise of the Beasts, and seriously, Rise of the Beasts just goes back to this era of Transformers. It's you know, you can watch the Transformers films You can go to that one, you can take this one out of the equation, pretend it never actually existed, and it's like you're just watching a continuation of this franchise without, you know, the goodwill of what this film gave us was just ejected and thrown out of the window for some stupid reason, and they just went and tried to give you another Michael Bay fest, and yeah, it's a shame. It really is a shame. Yeah, it truly is. But there we go. We got a new Transformers film this year. Transformers 1, I believe it's called. It's animated. So anyway, moving on. Let's get to some Jason Statham. And we have the Transporter. And the Transporter 2. I enjoyed these. I enjoyed Jason Statham. I think his movies are enjoyable, fun nonsense. Yeah, they're good films. They're good action films to put on and kill 90 minutes. Then we have Transporter Refueled with, I forget his name, but he was in Deadpool. He was a bad guy. More recently, he was the bad guy in Rebel Moon. I didn't mind this. It ain't Statham, nowhere near as good as the Statham ones, but you know, it took me a while to get round to watching it because of the and you know, because of what people were saying. I watched it and I thought, do you know what? It wasn't as bad as what I was expecting it to be. And why is it shaking around in there? I've actually got 2 copies in there for some reason. I do know because I like the Australian. What do you think? That's the Australian art. There we go. But keeping with the Transporter, I do here have 3-disc set, season 1 of the Transporter TV series. Did you know that there was a Transporter TV series? I think there was a season 2 as well. I don't have that. Again from Australia. Released by Umbrella. Transporter. Okay, let's put the Transporter stuff back and move into some Brucey Willis. A bit of Brucey bonus. And I quite enjoyed this film. And it is Tears of the Sun. Is that Monica Bellucci in this? It is. And Cole Hauser. Tom Skerritt. Directed by Antoine Fuqua. Okay. He directed Equalizer films, didn't he, I believe? If I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I could sort of see it. A decent film. I enjoyed that film. So let's get to a franchise now. A franchise that consists of 7 movies and a TV series. Only I don't have the TV series here. I do have the TV series, but it's all around in the TV section. That is Tremors. Kevin Bacon, first Tremors film. Again, I have special collector's editions of the first and second Tremors films put on top. So Tremors 1, great film, a lot of fun. Tremors 2, Kevin Bacon didn't return. Aftershocks. And then we have Back to Perfection. And this is where the character of Burt Gummer, played by Michael Gross, sort of took a lead in the franchise. And not only did he take lead in the franchise of films, he was the lead in the short-lived TV series that lasted 11 or 13 episodes. And more recently, we have in this country had a release of all 7 films in one pack on Blu-ray, and you also get 3 DVDs in there which include that TV show. Yeah, it was a Sci-Fi Channel TV show. It was alright. But yeah, Back to Perfection is the 3rd film. And then we got The Legend Begins, Tremors 4, which is set in Western times. And then the Tremors, the TV series came after this, as I recall. And we had quite a break in number of years. And then more recently, within the past decade, was when we started getting Tremors 5 Bloodlines. Tremors 6, A Cold Day in Hell. I thought it was a great idea that, you know, Tremors sort of went to the Arctic, but only it didn't. There wasn't no snow. It's just sort of rocky terrain. There's, you know, it feels kind of like cheap that they sort of cheaped out on giving you this sort of imagery and didn't really go there. And then still sealed, but we got Shrieker Island, which is the final of the films. And without spoiling it, we'll spoil it. This is where we see the death of Burt Gummer. He sacrifices himself at the end. Poor guy's obviously getting old anyway. You know, Michael Gross getting a very old, become an old fella. It does show in some of the running and that sort of thing in the film. But yeah, I have a lot of fun with the Tremors franchise. You know, they're not great films, but they're enjoyable enough to watch. Then moving on, we have a Nicolas Cage and Nicole Kidman film, Trespass. And this was, well, you know, when I first started with Blu-ray, I remember buying this. This would have been back in the early days of Blu-ray. I don't think I've watched it since. Then we have Tropic Thunder. Ben Stiller, Jack Black, and Robert Downey Jr. A very funny film. Great film. Very good. Very, very good. Then we move on to Tron. It's a double box set of Tron. So you've got the classic Tron in there, the original, and you've got Tron Legacy, which I saw at the cinema, and it looked great. It looked great. That's all I can say. I didn't think it was the greatest of films, but it looked good. We're getting towards the end now. 9 movies left on this shelf. First up, we have George Clooney in Tomorrowland, A World Beyond, Disney film. And I didn't mind it when I watched it. Then picked it up cheap. I think I have a special collector's edition of this as well somewhere. And it is 12 Monkeys. Bruce Willis, Madeline Stowe and Brad Pitt. Terry Gilliam film. Yeah, it's quite a difficult watch, but it's a good watch. There was a TV series as well. Sci-fi. And we have, with a lovely lenticular, Troll Hunter. Picked up cheap. Instead of me keep turning around, I'm just going to grab these. Okay, so I picked this up for $5. I had seen it. Still got stickers on it. And it's Angelina Jolie in Those Who Wish Me Dead, where she's the firefighter, forest firefighter in the woods, and she has to protect some kid or something. Yeah. Who does it have in it? Taylor Sheridan. Nicholas Hoult is in it. John Bernthal, the Punisher, is in it as well. Yeah, I didn't mind it. I watched it. Then it was one of those ones that I didn't buy on release day. I thought I could wait until I see it far cheaper, and thusly I did. Got to get that cleaned off. Then we have a great film, True Grit. Who's that? Jeff Bridges, Matt Damon, Josh Brolin, Joel and Ethan Coen directed, and it stars a young... I've said her name a little while ago. Bloody hell, from Transformers the movie. Hailee Steinfeld. Young Hailee Steinfeld gives an outstanding performance. And that's what I'm saying about remakes. Enough time has passed that you could warrant a remake, and we got a decent film with it as well. Keeping with that Western tone. Tombstone. I have a lovely steelbook for this. A lovely, beautiful steelbook. Seriously, I don't know if I've shown it. If it's been on the shelves that I've done, it may have been. It's got the 2 guns on it. Oh, it's so nice. But it's such a good film. I mean, I enjoy this film. I enjoy Wyatt Earp. They both came out around the similar time. I think it was around 1994. This one's more sort of popcorny, shall we say. Now, one thing, I mean, I like Kurt Russell. Kurt Russell's great in everything he does. I'm not a fan of Val Kilmer. I don't like Val Kilmer as an actor. But what I will say is this is that one film where I say that he's spot on, and I really love his performance in this film. But it goes no way of swaying me for any others. Batman Forever is my least favourite Batman film because of Val Kilmer element. There we go. And then we have Megan Fox in Till Death, which was a film, I think this came out through the sort of, was it through the period of COVID? It kind of feels like it was that period of film. And, well, I imported it from Germany. I don't believe we got Blu-ray in this country. I may be mistaken there. And two more left. First up is Milla Jovovich. Who's in this? Logan Lerman, Milla Jovovich, Matthew McFadden, the late Ray Stevenson, Luke Evans, Orlando Bloom, Christoph Waltz. I mean, it's the Three Musketeers. And believe me when I say that this film took me years to get around to watching. It really did. I really had zero interest in watching it. And then I watched it and I thought, okay, it ain't that bad. I quite enjoyed it. Obviously, it's directed by, I believe it's Paul W.S. Anderson, Mr. Jovovich, Milla Jovovich's husband. Nothing like nepotism, is there? We'll keep you in work, wife. We'll keep you in work. And then the last film that we come to, and, well, by the time this airs, I'm sure that I've got this on 4K from Criterion. This one's still sealed as well. Ridley Scott, Susan Sarandon, Gina Davis, you know the movie. Thelma and Louise. Brad Pitt as well. So, there we go. There we go. We've completed that shelf of a movie. Yeah, we've done it. We've finished. We've completed. So, what... I'm going to put these back. So, what's the pick? That's the question, isn't it? We're going to find out. Okay, so, in reflection... That's quite a strong shelf. You know, there's a lot of franchise movies in there. There's some strong individual films, Taxi Driver, things like that. You know, Total Recall. You know, that shelf offers up some, you know, some nice titles in the collection. I'll honestly say that on that shelf, there'd be far more that I would keep. If I was culling the collection, there's far more I'd keep on that shelf than what I would be rid of. I think the previous 2 episodes of this, that would have been the other way around. There would have been far more shelves that I would get rid of, titles I'd get rid of than actually keep. Yeah, so, and it, you know, I don't know. There's a lot of films on there, a lot of good films. So what's that one film that I would take? Well, before I get into it. Let me know in the comments the one film off this shelf that you would take. Like I said, that does interest me genuinely. Nice to have a conversation about that sort of a thing. And, well, this kind of goes without saying, really. But it's so difficult. I mean, I'm questioning now because even though I'm picking this film, I'm letting so many good ones go. The one film that I would take with me out of this here would be The Terminator. The first Terminator movie. Yes, I preferred Terminator 1 over Terminator 2. For reasons I won't go into because that conversation will take me into Terminator 2 and the issues that I have with Terminator 2, even though it's a good film. There's issues I have with it. But Terminator 1, it's a film that I was young. Probably about 8 when that came out. I remember seeing it. I remember watching it with friends of the same age. We'd have these get-togethers and we'd watch Terminator. You know, we thought we was cool watching this film that, you know, where a geezer gets a knife and, you know, digs his eye out and that sort of a thing. You know, we knew we was watching something great, if that makes sense, but without knowing that. And it's lived the test of time. And when that film finally got its VHS release, I remember, you know, my sister said, you know, what would you like for Christmas? And I said, how about Terminator, the Terminator on VHS? Well, it would have been VHS, there was nothing else at the time. But anyway, so Terminator on VHS. And I remember she weren't living at home. She'd moved out and that. And they brought my gift round, and it went under the tree, and it didn't feel like a VHS. It wasn't a VHS, and I was gutted. I was like, oh, you know, I wanted this, but you've gone and got me something else. That kind of disappoints me, you know, like an ungrateful little kid. But anyway, what I'd done was I got a Stanley knife. I got that gift, and I opened up the old blade, and I sliced right along the folds and where the paper met, along the sellotapes, and I gently opened it up, took it out, and inside was a Christmas card box, and within the Christmas card box was the Terminator. So back in, fold it all up, new sellotape over the existing sellotape to hide anything that I'd done there, and yeah, and that's how I got Terminator on VHS. Talking about VHS and DVD, it's funny, right? Because I look at my collection. Now, I did have someone recently ask me, saying, Alan, you know who you are. How many films do you think you've got? And I said, I can only hazard a guess. And because I've never actually counted. And I said that the problem with counting is that the minute I know a number, a definitive number, it's easy for me to assign a cost to that number and how much money I have spent over the years on my Blu-rays and 4Ks and that sort of a thing, and the collector sets. I can assign a number just sort of roughly. And I don't want to do that because I think it'll be somewhat depressing. So, but then, you know, because as you know, these films here, a lot of these films, you know, I have bought full price, and they depreciate. You go and see EX and you see that. You go in charity shops and you see that. So I kind of envy people that are starting their collections now or are very young at collecting, if that makes sense. Because not only do I look at the, you know, do I have to look at the depreciation of stuff and how much I could have got this stuff for, but I think that, you know, a lot of people's thought process ends there because you only see what you've got. And when I consider the amount of money that I spent on VHS tapes, that I then upgraded onto DVD, that I then upgraded onto Blu-ray, that I've then upgraded a lot of them onto 4K, this just becomes insurmountable, and it really highlights the cost nature of collecting. It really does. But yeah, anyway, that's just a little side tangent there, a little side chat. But no, so anyway, so Terminator was my pick. Any films that I kind of possibly could have made it as a sort of Tombstone, most definitely could have been up there. Taxi Driver could have been up there. If I had to take one of the Transformers films with me, I'd probably take Dark of the Moon. Yeah, they're the other sort of titles that stand out. Obviously, True Grit is a great film. I know I showed Titanic. I didn't really consider that, but you know, Titanic will come up again. Believe you me. And yeah, so there we go. We're done. There's my pick. So in 2 weeks' time, I will be back, and I'll drop down to the shelf below this, which is a continuation of teas. And guess what I've just come across, if you saw it last week? Uncle Buck. Uncle Buck. I knew. Someone said, when I went and picked it up again, someone said to me, you know you've already got Uncle Buck. Did I? I did have it. Damn it. And that's another reason why I keep out CEXs now, is I lose control of what I've got. And I don't have an app that tells me what I've got and that sort of a thing. But there we go. Anyway, that's me done. I'm going to get going. I look forward to reading what film you would have picked. So make sure you let me know. Drop it down in the comments. And hit the subscribe button. Come join the channel, because in 2 weeks' time, I will be back with another episode of Desert Island Movies. Or Desert Island Discs, whatever you want to call it. See you then.